Hello, my name is Christy Abrams, and I am the Hard of Hearing Specialist with the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing. Each May is Better Hearing and Speech Month. This year, the theme is Building Connections. I am grateful to have three of Arizona's most impactful leaders serving people who are hard of hearing across Arizona join me today. All right. Well, welcome. You all have the Hearing Loss Association of America, or HLAA, chapter leadership in common. I'll ask each of you to introduce yourself and tell us, how do you feel that your HLAA chapter impacts our hard of hearing community in Arizona, and how do you build connections in your own life in regards to navigating your hearing loss? And let's see, Melanie, would you like to go first today?
Sure. My name is Melanie ORourke, and I'm president of the HLAA West Valley chapter here in the Phoenix area. I connected with HLAA chapter when we first moved to Arizona. We retired to Arizona, moved from the Midwest. I had a bilateral hearing loss due to meningitis, and I have bilateral cochlear implants. When we moved to Arizona, I was looking to make some connections, and I thought making them with some hearing loss support would be a good idea to look into. I went to an HLAA chapter meeting and shortly became involved in the board as secretary, and made a lot of connections with individuals who were advocating at that time for things like telecoil and hearing aids and induction loops. I met Jenny Clark-Wright, who was very involved in the Hearing Loss Association of America in Arizona. And I also met other local individuals who were involved with hearing loss. So I made a lot of connections through HLAA. I took some time away from the association because I kind of wanted to get back to my professional work as at that time I was still working as a speech language pathologist. And so as I worked a couple of years, I wasn't able to participate in the chapter meetings because they were during the afternoon. However, again, a couple of years later, making a change, I reconnected to HLAA and was asked to be a vice president by Jenny Clark-Wright. And the next year I became president. So that was quite a few years back in about 2016. And I have just continued to make connections. My goal for the West Valley chapter was to increase, not necessarily the attendance, but increase awareness of people in the West Valley. And I did that by reaching out to many of the audiologists and made them aware of the support group that we provided. I like to make connections with people. I love our meetings. We get a lot of people come to the meetings and benefit from our presentations. But I like to meet with individuals one-on-one and share information about maybe assistive listening devices or any other kinds of ways that I can help them support with their hearing loss. So that's what's important. Connections are vital to people with hearing loss, whether on a one-on-one situation or being a part of our large group presentation. And at this time during this past year with the pandemic, we've had virtual Zoom meetings. We've reached out to people. We've connected with our members and guests, and we've had great response from keeping in touch and keeping connected.
Great. Thank you so much, Melanie. Peggy, would you like to take it away?
Sure. My name is Peggy Staples, and I am the current president of the HLAA Arizona Working Adult Chapter. And I was born with a severe to profound hearing loss that I've had since birth. When I moved to Arizona and began working in the workforce, I was looking for some support groups specific to hearing loss to make connections out in the hearing loss community. And when I reached out to what was then only 2 chapters in the Valley, I realized that they began meeting during business hours and I wasn't able to attend those meetings. So I had asked both of the leadership in those chapters to let me know if another chapter would be in the works, or if it ever comes to fruition that I would be able to attend outside of business hours, to let me know. In 2016, the Arizona Working Adult Chapter was formed. So at that time, I began attending those meetings and began building connections with other people in that chapter. And about 2 years later, I took over as president of that chapter. While all of our HLAA chapters serve the hearing loss community locally, across the state, and even beyond using online platforms like Zoom, the Arizona Working Adult Chapter that I currently lead builds connections by focusing on hearing loss in the workplace. As our mission states, we provide education, support, and advocacy for people with hearing loss so they can be successful throughout their career. The collaboration among the Valley chapters contributes to the building of connections through combined meetings. There have been 2 successful combined meetings thus far, one in December of 2020 and the other in February 20 of 21. Our Working Adult Chapter will be hosting the 3rd one in May of this year. As for building communications in my own life, I love to educate others about my hearing loss. The other day, I was approached by someone who told me that I was making a difference because she has learned to be more mindful when talking to others, and she has even been teaching her own kids not to get impatient when someone is asking to repeat what was said. If someone approaches me and asks me to tell them what the sign is for a certain word, I'm able to teach that, and that's a connection. While ASL is not my first language, I learned sign language in college. Before the pandemic, I would hold classes in my workplace to teach basic signs to coworkers. And when I see others learn from me and say thank you and share their appreciation, it adds to the many connections that I have built over time. My goal is to continue making those connections, whether it be through the chapter or in my own personal life or in my work life. I want to be able to continue teaching, bringing awareness, and even helping people protect their hearing so that they don't end up having a hearing loss like we do.
Thank you so much, Peggy. And now we have Ron.
Thank you, Christy. My name is Ron Tallman, and I am the president of the HLAA Sun Lakes chapter. I was introduced to HLAA around 2013. I am a late deafened individual and went deaf at the age of 62 years old. I was introduced to HLAA through my audiologist and my cochlear implant doctor. They introduced me to a young lady who my wife and I had lunch with. And all I wanted to do was hold a cochlear implant. And she had one implant. She let me hold it and said, you know, you should come to one of our chapters. And you wouldn't have to worry. We have CART provided. So I didn't know what CART was. And I absolutely had no idea what HLAA was. But I went out to the chapter, and the first speaker at HLAA chapter meeting was Michelle Michaels, and did a great job. through the years, it has been very gratified to have been to participate in all the chapter meetings that we have had. My first convention with HLAA was in 2015 out in Salt Lake City. At that convention, we decided we were going to bring the Arizona Walk for Hearing to Arizona and held our first walk in November 2016. We had over 450 people associated with hearing loss attend that event and raised over $48,000. A very, very, very good achievement for us. Along those lines, probably around 2014, 2015, they asked me to be a board member and be a secretary of the chapter. And I said, sure, why not? I'll do that. And so it was another chapter kept right on going. We've had several great speakers at our chapter, and COVID has been very challenging for all of us. We had our last physical meeting back in March last year and have met virtually starting in September last year since then. And then in November of last year, we had the first virtual Walk for Hearing with over 100 people attending online and raised over $35,000. So it's been very, very, very challenging, and we hope to see other opportunities come up in October of this year, maybe meet face to face. One thing I would like to add is to the other presidents, Melanie and Peggy, has said, the time that we took to bring joint chapter meetings together, it was just an enormous undertaking that we put this together, and everybody, all of us working together. But it was very, very worth the while we put in to have West Valley and East Valley and Tempe join in on these joint meetings. So it has been a great event, and we have another one coming up in May of this year. That's all I have.
All right. Well, Melanie, Peggy, and Ron, it really is an honor to know all of you, and I'm inspired by you, and certainly professionally and personally, you help me feel more connected, and I know that you all make a difference in so many lives across Arizona. So I really thank you so much for joining me today and appreciate your time and all that you do.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Christy.
Thank you.